Okay, this is the last video for the week. I think it might be a long one, but since it's going to be snowing out on Friday, hence why I have the winter hat on, um, I don't think you'll need to be anywhere but doing some math. So, last one, parabolas for the week. So, definition, remember all this stuff is in that uh, PDF file of Smartboard notes. It's just the examples are not worked out. So that's really what my job here is. So definition is we have the set of all points that are equidistant from a fixed line, which is called the directrix, and a fixed point, which is called the focus. Now, this is looking at parabolas in sort of the conic section world, not the way we know. Like on that packet of notes, standard form of a quadratic that is a function, right side up or upside down, y equals ax squared plus bx plus c. If we have vertex form, which we use this year, like with shifts, we have y equals a parentheses x minus h squared plus k, where the vertex is at hk. What's old? The graph opened up or down, and you always had y equals. What's new is now you can have a parabola that's not a function opening right or left, and instead of y equals, you're going to have x equals. So when we talk about in the definition, so on your packet of notes, I'll label the one. So definition says the vertex is always what it was, the lowest or the highest, or the farthest to the left, the farthest to the right there. The axis of symmetry, that is old too. If it's right side up or upside down, your axis of symmetry is vertical. If it's sideways, your axis of symmetry, the thing that splits that parabola into two uh, equal part mirror images, it's going to be horizontal. So the focus is the fixed point. The directrix is the fixed line. And you draw that in your picture. I mean, obviously, that's drawn both those things just because of the definition. If I picked a point on this parabola, those two distances, which would be measured perpendicularly, are equal. Again, I attached a gizmo to the sort of playlist. It's sort of interesting for you to see if you look at that, if you have any interest. So then, the two forms, your equations, you have if it's right side up or upside down. That would be right side up or upside down. You do have a 4 in the equation, and P is going to be some number that you have to figure out. The vertex is HK. You have to be careful. It's always the X, then the Y. So if it's sideways, the Y is going to be squared. That's when I see a lot of people mess up because they'll do the vertex and they'll do opposite, opposite. It's opposite, opposite. It's always X, Y. What you want to think, and the plus or minus, if it's positive with X, it's up. If it's negative, it's facing down. If it's positive for Y, it's facing to the opening to the right. If it's negative for the Y, it's opening to the left. Um, P is the focus. And so at the bottom of those notes, it says, what is P? P is the number of spaces from the vertex. And then what's the distance between the focus and the directrix? That's going to be 2P. My picture that was sort of drawn, um, if that's P and that's P, the distance between the two is going to be 2P. So how do we graph it? Um, So the first thing you want to do is make sure you get this equation. So what you need to do is get a 4. So when you look at that equation, you see 8. So 8 is 4 times 2. Okay. So vertex, opposite, opposite, x, y. -2, 1. Direction it opens. X is squared. So it's right side up or upside down. That's positive. So it's up. Axis of symmetry. The axis of symmetry is the vertical line if it's up and down. So the equation of that vertical line is x equals -2. Coordinate of the focus. So I let you do these pretty easily without a table. What I want you to think is you're going to have a right side up parabola. Now, the focus is going to be inside the parabola. So since we have the 2 there, it's 2 spots away from the vertex. So it's going to be -2, 3. The directrix is going to be the horizontal line 2 spots outside. You really wouldn't draw the axis of symmetry in that. You just want to think of that vertical line if it's up or down, horizontal line right or left. Don't worry about the width. I'm not really concerned about that. I'm more concerned, can you draw it? So second one. So since it's y squared, it's going to go right or left. So when you see the way it's going, opens, if it's positive, it's right. If it's negative, it's left. So that would be left. The vertex, remember, opposite, opposite, but x, then y. 4, -1. I mean, really, I could draw that. It's not great, but just as a sketch, that would work. So then what else do you have to figure out? What's your focus? What's your directrix? The axis of symmetry, y equals -1. So what multiplied by 4 gives you -6? Or what multiplied by -4? So if you can't figure that out, do an equation. negative 1.5 or positive 1.5. I mean, the negative or the positive just tells you right or left. So what are you going to do? You're going to go 1.5 inside, 1.5 outside, away from the vertex. So your focus point would be 2.5 negative 1. Your directrix would be x equals 5.5. Okay? So how do you write the equation? If you follow those steps, I do think it helps. Sketch a graph. So 1, negative 4 is the vertex. 5, negative 4 is the focus. Well, that means that the parabola has to open to the right because the focus is inside the parabola. Well, because it opens to the right, it's got to be a y. Put your center, your vertex, I always say center by mistake, your vertex in the right spots. 1, negative 4. So the 1 goes with the x, the negative 4 with the y. Now, it's going to have 4 no matter what. It's opening right, so it's positive. Now, what's P? How many spots away is the focus from the vertex? 4. There's your equation. Okay. Second one. Negative 3, negative 6 is the focus. Y equals 1 is the directrix. So what you have to find out is, where is the vertex? The vertex is halfway between. Well, that's 6, negative 6, 1, which is 7 spaces. 7 spaces divided by 2 is 3.5. So go down 3.5 or up 3.5. Which that's your y value. So your x is negative 3, your y is negative 2.5. Focus is inside the parabola, so that means that has to be an upside down parabola, which means it has to be an x squared. So put your x in with your x, your y in with your y. It opens down, so it's got to be negative. And then P is how many spaces did you move away from the center to get to either the directrix or the focus, which was 3.5. So that would be the equation. So that is parabolas. Um, we'll talk about these on Monday, but try to do, uh, all you had to do today was watch the video, look at the gizmo, do the worksheet for Friday, and we'll talk Monday. See you then.